Chapter 0001. Chu Tiansheng. Let's break up. At 6:12 p.m. in a new city on Ingbin Avenue. It was rush hour. On the bustling street, a white car was waiting at a red light. Chu Tiansheng. Let's break up. Sitting in the driver's seat, Chu Tiansheng's whole body trembled. His bloodshot eyes wide open as he gently tapped his Bluetooth headset, doubting if there was something wrong with it. You're a good person, a good police officer, but you're not a good husband. What's the point of us being together? You're always working overtime, often disappearing for 3 to 5 days that I eat alone, sleep alone, go to the hospital alone when I'm sick. Everything is done alone. I'm tired of this life. I don't want to live in constant fear every day whenever you're on a mission. I'm always worried about what might happen to you. I've already aborted the child without consulting you, and I want to say sorry. Chu Tiansheng felt a sharp pain in his heart. He opened his mouth and gasped for air, but the pain was suffocating. He wanted to say something, but his mind was blank. Don't blame me for being heartless, and don't resent me. I overestimated myself. At first, I thought love was everything. After attending my best friend's wedding last week, I realized I was too naive, too love-struck. Do you know how much her bride price was? $660,000 in cash. 2 1-kilogram gold bars. They also gifted them a Mercedes and a 4-bedroom, two-living-room house in a good school district. And what do we have? When we get married, what can you give me? We can't afford a house in a good school district, can't hire a tutor, and can't even pay for tutoring classes. If we had a child, he would end up like us, destined to be a backdrop for someone else's children. But I don't want him to repeat our lives, being a slave to others for his entire life. Don't look for me. Don't contact me again. I'm just a passerby in your life. Let's part on good terms. You're a good person, and you will definitely find a woman who is more suitable for you than me. I wish you happiness. Beep, beep, beep. Listening to the busy tone coming from his phone, Chu Tiansheng felt as if his body had been emptied. His head buzzed, filled with the echo of that woman's voice. It seemed the woman across from him wanted to vent all her grievances from the past years without giving him a chance to respond. Beep, beep, a series of urgent honks sounded. Chu Tiansheng turned back in confusion and saw a runaway dump truck speeding toward him. He saw the terrified expressions on the faces of the crowd around him and heard the piercing screams. Then he felt a jolt throughout his body, involuntarily spinning and jumping with the truck. The bouquet of roses sitting in the passenger seat soared into the air, mixed with splattering blood, looking somewhat enchanting. She disliked him for not being romantic, so after this business trip, he specially bought this bouquet of roses. Beep, beep, beep. Another round of harsh honking jolted Chu Tiansheng back to reality, incredulously looking at the bustling traffic around him. Hadn't he just been in a car accident? Wasn't he dead? That couldn't be right. Why didn't it hurt? He carefully checked his entire body. Not a single drop of blood stained him, let alone an injury. And where was the car? Bro, what were you thinking? A top student from a prestigious university, coming to be a deputy police officer? You studied hard for over a decade. What's the point? Just for 160? My brain isn't working. I really can't study. So I ended up here as a deputy police officer to make a living. You're different. You're a top student from a prestigious university. Anything you do is 100 times better than this $2,000 a month job. Besides, if you really want to be a police officer, I've heard that top students like you can take the special recruitment exam. Let me tell you, bro, as a deputy officer, we just do miscellaneous work and run errands. Don't be foolish. The young guy next to him asked this question for the 8th time. Chu Tiansheng looked at his companion in confusion, suddenly flooded with a lot of information in his mind. Zhou Tao, a deputy officer at the Sanyanjing Police Station, had been there a year longer than him. Wait, how did he know him? What was the Sanyanjing Police Station? Wait a minute, something's off. His mind inexplicably filled with many familiar, yet strange memories. Had he crossed over? Damn, God, what's going on? It's one thing to cross over, but the protagonists in novels either dominate the world or conquer the skies at the very least. They're rich enough to rival nations and possess unmatched skills. And what about him? After 10 years of hard work, he finally gets to experience the treatment of a novel protagonist, only to cross over and become a deputy police officer? Is there any justice? Is there any law? Is there any order? He quickly organized his somewhat chaotic memories. This is a parallel world with a structure similar to the previous one. Interestingly enough, the person whose body he possessed is also named Chu Tiansheng. Of course, they only share the same name. The person he is now possessing is quite a character. His uncle is a police officer, and influenced by him, he always thought being a police officer was a super sacred profession. The dream of becoming a police officer took root in his heart at an early age, and one expected that when he was 10 years old, his uncle died in the line of duty, which greatly impacted his father. His father strongly opposed him pursuing this profession and was very adamant. The old Chu family is bankrupt if we have to beg for food. Even if we starve to death, you are not allowed to be a police officer. If you dare to take the police exam, then our fates are severed. You go your way, and you'll leave home with your mother. Out of sight, out of mind. For the sake of family harmony, when it came time to fill out college applications, Chu Tianxing listened to his father's arrangement and chose to major in computer science at Nanjiang University, pursuing a combined bachelor's and master's degree that in his father's words, your third cousin's second uncle's grandson is studying this. After graduating, he worked in programming, earning hundreds of thousands a year, marrying a rich beauty with a bridal dowry of a 4-bedroom, 2-living-room apartment in Shanghai and a luxury car. From a poor kid barely making ends meet to reaching the pinnacle of life. He had seen his third cousin's second uncle's grandson at family gatherings. In his 30s, he was seriously balding, with glasses thicker than high school textbooks, grinning at everyone, looking more miserable than crying AS for the rich beauty he married. She was really white, but her whiteness was different from others. She was white in patches. In the medical field, there's a professional term for this, vitiligo. Actually, it wasn't a big deal after all. No one is perfect. Some people care about looks, while others care about the heart. As long as one of them is good, that's fine. The key was that, while the woman was ugly, she was also proud, arrogant, and sharp-tongued. She would complain about everything, and if something didn't go her way, she'd scold her in-laws as if they were her sons. At family gatherings, she could belittle others to worthlessness, such as saying this dish wasn't even good enough for dogs, or that the cheap suit couldn't hide the poverty, or that her relatives smelled bad, and it was fine to be poor, but they didn't even wash themselves. Of course, she said these things to her husband, but the key was that half the hotel could hear her voice. There was no way around it. Being over 200 pounds, it was normal for her to have a strong voice. Disdain aside, Chu Tianxing wouldn't argue with his own father about this, saying he was right. Who made him a father? When the admission letter arrived, Chu Tianxing's father was over the moon. Finally, the old Chu family produced a graduate from a prestigious university. For 3 days, there were grand banquets and performances, and he even specially bought over 1,000 yuan worth of dog food for the stray dogs near the community. This was to fulfill his promise. If my son gets into a prestigious university, I will set up a separate table for the dogs in the neighborhood. Setting up a table wasn't feasible, so buying some dog food was a way to improve the lives of those stray dogs and share in the joy. With a score of 667 in the college entrance examination, he got into one of the top 10 double first-class universities with a prestigious major, and it was a combined bachelor's and master's program. For a long time, Chu Tianxing was seen as the exemplary child of others in the eyes of his relatives. Whenever family elders saw him, they would stand up to greet him. If he didn't show up for a meal, no one dared to start eating. No one dared to say behind his back that he was ungrateful or that he didn't show respect to his elders anymore. The narrative changed too. That child is like a star of literature descended from the heavens, his mind filled with knowledge, and it's normal for him not to understand the ways of the world. It's likely that these relatives and friends could never have imagined that the literary star they saw graduated from university would quietly take the auxiliary police examination. Afterward, Chu Tianxing didn't care. In his own words, he went to Nanjing University for his parents, and he took the auxiliary police exam for himself. People have to live for themselves at least once. Thus, a top student with awards from a prestigious university graduated and became an honorable auxiliary police officer. Chapter 2. A graduate from a prestigious university, an auxiliary police officer, with a monthly salary of 2,350 yuan after deducting social insurance and housing fund. He took home 1,970 yuan. The attendance bonus and night shift allowance added up to no more than 400 yuan. Don't say others don't understand. Even Chu Tianxing himself couldn't comprehend this. Isn't this ridiculous? You can't talk about the police profession being one that serves the people without being willing to sacrifice and uphold justice. Of course, those who choose this profession have a heart for punishing evil and promoting good. But at the very least, you should be a regular employee, right? As an auxiliary police officer, what righteousness can you talk about? What good can you do? Previously, when Chu Tianxiang was a criminal police officer, though the salary wasn't high, it was at least considered a middle to upper income in a third-tier city. More importantly, it was a government position with decent benefits and a better retirement pension that he couldn't afford luxury foods or fine clothing. But among ordinary people, it could still be considered a comfortable life, right? Then look at this guy after his rebirth. An auxiliary police officer. With that meager salary, could he support himself? Xiao Chu, I don't care what your reasons are for being an auxiliary police officer. Since you're following me now, I need to talk to you a bit. The speaker was a middle-aged police officer with graying hair. Sun Dage, 42 years old, the team leader of the security team at the Sanyanjing Police Station, 2 stripes and 2 bars, a second-level police supervisor. Chu Tianxing nodded and smiled, saying, "Yes, team leader Sun, go ahead. Work hard every day. You wear this uniform every day, so you have to be worthy of the salary the country pays you. You can't just be slacking off." "Yes, yes, yes. You don't have law enforcement power. All actions must follow orders. Don't cause trouble for me." All right, all right. Don't be a hero. Being young and impulsive can lead to rash actions. Don't act recklessly just because you're heated in the moment. Reality is not like the movies. Getting stabbed is serious business. We are in a security position. Our main responsibility is to deter lawbreakers. Charging in a battle is not our job. If there's a fight, mediate and help old ladies cross the street, assist old men with their burdens. Doing more of these things is enough to justify wearing this uniform. With a salary of just over 2,000 a month, you need to be clever about your work. Hey, as long as criminals don't threaten the safety of the public. Know when to be timid and when to stand firm. Right. Sun Gui looked at Chu Tianxiang helplessly. He wasn't sure if the other party was listening, but he said everything that needed to be said. Chu Tianxiang's responses were somewhat perfunctory. Point one reason was the syndrome of crossing over. He was still digesting the sudden memories. More importantly, he was indeed considering whether to change jobs or change his life after being reborn. After all, he had just experienced a family tragedy because of this profession, and he still felt a bit dazed. Just as he was about to speak, a cold mechanical voice suddenly appeared in his mind. "Congratulations, host, for successfully binding the criminal nemesis system. Occupation restriction, law enforcement personnel. Warning, if the host resigns, the system will automatically unbind. Congratulations, host, for receiving a beginner's gift package. Congratulations, host, for obtaining a special ability, criminal list. This list details all the personal information and criminal records of all criminals. Congratulations, host, for receiving a special reward, gene enhancement basic version." As soon as the voice in his mind faded, Chu Tianxiang felt a warmth rising within him. He felt as though he was soaking in a hot spring, warm and very comforting. He could clearly feel his bones, tendons, and muscles undergoing drastic changes. Thankfully, this process did not make him feel any discomfort. The moment the strange feeling disappeared, Chu Tianxiang felt he had become frighteningly strong, as if he had boundless energy. At that moment, a silver, shimmering attribute panel appeared in his mind. Host, Chu Tianxiang. Attributes: Physique, 20 average 10. Agility, 20 average 10. Strength, 20 average 10. Skills, none. Items, criminal list. Justice value, 0. Just then, there was a raised red brick on the wall. He couldn't help but punch it. Bang, crack, crash. The red brick shattered into dozens of pieces. Sun Degui and Zhou Tao both showed expressions of surprise and confusion. This red brick quality is poor. How long has it been? It's already weathered and crumbles at a touch. Team leader Sun, don't worry, I'm not acting on impulse. I've dreamed of being a police officer since I was young. I promise to do well. I will definitely not embarrass you. Chu Tianxiang quickly diverted attention. He wasn't lying. What a joke, with the system backing him. It was like he was cheating, that if he didn't work hard, he would be struck by lightning. In his previous life, Chu Tianxiang was just an ordinary person. No specialties, no background, that he woke up earlier than roosters and went to bed later than dogs, diligently working in criminal investigation for 10 years. At 33 years old, he had only managed to become a team leader in a basic position. In recent years, he had either been on business trips or on the way to business trips. Even so, after deducting social insurance and housing fund, his monthly salary was just over 7,000. It's no wonder he got kicked out. What do women want from men? Either money, love, or companionship, right? What did Chu Tianxing have? A salary of less than 10,000 a month? When busy, he could be gone for 10 days or half a month. And during tasks, he could go days or nights without being reachable. Aside from his looks, he had nothing. If she wanted to leave, Chu Tiansheng wouldn't even have a reason to plead. Aside from her friend who loved wealth and only wanted to cling to a rich man, Chu Tiansheng had no complaints about her. After all, when they were together, she was quite good. She could cook, kept the place tidy every day, and was frugal, making her a woman who could manage a household. Chu Tiansheng dedicated himself to work and had never worried about life's trivial matters. To be honest, when she chose to break up, Chu Tiansheng wasn't too sad. The main reason for being with her was the limitations of his profession, with few interactions with the opposite sex. Plus, that woman took the initiative, so Chu Tiansheng accepted it. It wasn't love or fiery passion, it was simply that he felt it was time to settle down. This doesn't mean Chu Tiansheng was a scumbag or irresponsible. Decades ago, when men sought wives, they valued character and knowledge. What do they value now? Do you have a car? Do you have a house? Do you have a car? Do you have parents? Orphans are the best, of course, except for the rich second generation. Online inducement, real-life comparison. The stronger the smell of money, the fainter the smell of emotions. In this day and age, love has become a rare commodity. Nowadays, how many couples are together purely out of love? There are. But they are pitifully few. Of course, if your financial situation is good and you have a childhood sweetheart, then it might actually be because of love. Today's love has a prerequisite, which is that you have enough bread. When you're hungry, survival is the first thought. Who has time to talk about emotions? Being together, able to be sincere, honest, and willing to walk together is quite rare. You say there's a lot of reluctance from a past life, but that's really not much. In a past life, Chu Tiansheng was an orphan with a small social circle. His best relationships were with a few colleagues that if he suddenly passed away, they would probably be sad for several days, and he feels a bit guilty about that. There's also something else that Chu Tiansheng regrets. He had just gritted his teeth and bought a case of Qingdao 14-degree craft beer and hadn't even drunk a bottle. He had always heard that the beer was quite strong, so he wanted to buy it to try. But over 20 yuan for only 330 milliliters was an outrageous price, no matter how you looked at it. Just happened to find an online promotion much cheaper, so he gritted his teeth and bought a case. Converted, it was 19 yuan a bottle. Good stuff, he thought. He would drink some with his partner after work to be romantic. But now, well, the romance didn't happen, and it all went to waste. If he had known, he would have opened a bottle to taste first. Ah, what a mistake. Spent several hundred yuan and didn't drink a single sip. What a pity. Oh, right, there's one more person that Chu Tiansheng still thinks about. The old man sweeping the streets at the entrance of the city bureau. Every day before dawn, he would appear on the empty street. Whenever Chu Tiansheng worked all night and it was just getting light, he would bring him some food and drinks, sitting by the roadside chatting about life. Every time, it was the old man talking about his glorious achievements when he was young, and Chu Tiansheng was just an audience. Only at that moment did Chu Tiansheng feel like he was an ordinary person, not the kind of police officer who always wanted to be a hero. If he died, the old man would probably feel a bit lost, right? After all, the early morning streets are depressingly empty. Just as Chu Tiansheng was lost in thought, his gaze unintentionally fell on a man riding a bike, and suddenly a transparent information panel appeared in his mind.